Hey everybody, welcome to Adapter Parish, episode 78, our 3-year spectacular. We'll get into the retrospective in a moment, but first, let's talk about our next episode. We've had a lot on our minds this year, which made us kind of screw up our schedule, so our Halloween episode's going to be coming to you after Halloween, but it is still coming. This year, we're tackling the creepiest, some would say kookiest, and everyone would agree, most altogether ookiest family around, the Addams Family. And after we decided on it, we found out that there was way more to watch than we thought. We are looking at Charles Addams' original comic strip, the 1960s TV show, the 90s movies, both theatrical and straight-to-video, the 90s TV show, which I had totally forgotten about, the Broadway musical, and 2019's animated movie. We're going to spend a lot of time with Gomez and Morticia and Fester and the kids, and that episode will be out on Tuesday, November 3rd, which is also Election Day in the U.S., but this year it's more like election season. At any rate, that might be a day we all need a distraction, so we'll be doing our part with this episode. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections about today's episode or any others that you'd like to hear on the show, remember to email adapterparishcast@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, we'd love it if you would share that with the world by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. We're also on Patreon at patreon.com/adaptcast. We've got a patron-only community and our bi-weekly bonus show, Adapter Parish Plus, with episodes releasing every Tuesday between episodes of this show. We hope you check it out. Show notes from this and all other episodes can be found at adapterparishcast.com. And with that, on with the show, Adapter Parish, episode 78, our 3-year spectacular. Hello and welcome to Adapter Parish, a podcast about adaptation. I'm Jeremy Latour.
And I'm Arielle Lipshaw, and today we are going to talk about some things we already talked about.
A whole bunch of things we already talked about. What a great episode.
Hooray!
So for anyone who's listened to all the episodes this year, you don't have to listen to this.
I mean, unless you want to hear our lovely dulcet tones talking about things we already discussed and making more jokes.
There's going to be a lot more baby talk than there was last time. Like talk about
babies.
Not baby talk.
Baby talk. No, we don't do baby talk, really.
No, not with him.
No.
We talk to him like he's a grown-up.
No, do we?
I don't know. You know what? No, we talk to him like he's 8.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of leading into that.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I certainly talk to him as if he can understand what I'm saying, which is not true necessarily.
No, but it's increasingly true. It's less not true every day.
That's true. Yes, that's fair.
Less not true every day. Yes.
Yes.
That works.
Yeah, no, that tracks.
My math checks out.
Good.
With PEMDAS? Do I do the... What is... So anyway,
I don't know why you're asking me.
No, that's true. Welcome to our 3-year spectacular.
Hello.
We have a little less to talk about this year than we did last year.
Well, yeah.
Because
we had a baby.
We had a baby last year. There was a whole month that we didn't do episodes. We did reruns for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And also...
Recaps.
Yeah, there's another thing, too. We revisited a bunch of properties.
At least 3.
So, I want people to know right off the bat, we did Pride and Prejudice again this year, and if anyone listened to our 1-year spectacular, Pride and Prejudice, the 95 BBC version, did very well.
Mm-hmm.
Did very, very well.
In our year-end wrap-up, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, but this year, not eligible for nomination.
Not eligible at all.
Ineligible.
You can't be nominated twice.
It's like a 5th-year senior.
Yeah. No, it is not a thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we talked about it, but it's not going to make any lists this year.
Mm-mm.
So I want to let anyone know who, if this is your first time listening to a spectacular, a year-end spectacular on this show, the spectaculars celebrate the anniversary of the beginning of our show. So it has been a little over 3 years since we started this show.
Give or take.
Yeah. And what we like to do is we like to look back at our previous year. And what we're going to give you is we are going to give you our top 10s.
Yes.
For properties, top and bottom. So we are going to start with a little background. We're going to catch up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about how much we've looked at.
Yeah.
Then we are going to talk about our top 10 adaptations that we looked at this year. Then we're going to talk about our top 10 casting decisions
Mm-hmm.
from those adaptations and other adaptations. And then we're going to talk about our bottom adaptations.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, it's that we're going to save that one for the end because it is so much fun. And then we have a couple other fun lists to throw in the meantime.
Yeah.
I think, though, we should talk about some numbers first. And you've prepared a few things for us, haven't you?
Indeed, I have. Okay, so I ran the numbers. This always takes a while because I have to add up sort of manually the running time of everything we watch, which is a lot of things. So let me give you a little bit of context. I'm going to do year 1, then year 2, and then year 3. So the first year that we did this, we read a total of 23 books, which was about 6,600 pages.
It's a good amount.
6,600 pages. And we watched approximately 120 hours of content. Okay. So that was, it was a lot. The second year, we didn't read as many books. We read 16 books and like about half the number of pages, 3,600 pages. But we watched way more. We watched 187 hours of content. That was year 2.
That's a lot more.
That's a lot more. Okay. So now we're in year 3. Year 3 is interesting because we didn't read nearly as many books as year 2.
Because we have a baby.
But the books that we did read were like longer, I guess. Because year 2, if you recall, we read 16 books and it was about 3,600 pages. This year we read 10 books, but it was almost the same number of pages. It was 3,449. So within 150 pages.
Okay.
So they were all longer books. The longest book we read was Dracula.
Yeah.
But it was followed closely by actually The Poseidon Adventure.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was a much less dense book, but of a similar length. But here's where it really gets interesting. The number of hours of content that we watched this year skyrocketed. So last year, as I said, it's like 180, what did I say, 187 hours?
Yeah.
This year, do you want to take a guess?
I mean, I'm guessing at least 200 hours.
Yeah. I mean, at least.
Well, how many?
We watched 230 hours
Fuck.
of content, of which 66 was Robin Hood.
It's a lot of Robin Hood.
We watched.
And I watched a lot more than you did.
It's true. I mean, that Robin Hood was like 3 TV series. Like of 2 of which we didn't watch the whole series, but one of which we did. Yeah, it was funny because the first thing I added up was Dracula because I went chronologically, and Dracula I added up and it was 19 hours of Dracula, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of Dracula. This is definitely going to be the most of anything we watched. But every Dracula was pretty short. Like each given Dracula was like 90 to 110 minutes.
None of them were a TV show.
Whereas Robin Hood, like 3 of them were a TV show. Yes, 66 hours of Robin Hood, like followed by a distant second by Pride and Prejudice, which is still an impressive 30 hours of Pride and Prejudice.
This is the moment where we really should be measuring it in days.
Yeah, okay. So 230 divided by 24.
That's 9.5 days.
Like days, like 24-hour days.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess all this is to say we put a lot of time into this thing.
Yeah, there's no like big philosophical thing to say about any of that. We watched a lot of shit this year.
Yeah. God, 66 hours of Robin Hood, like I can't even. And that was before lockdown. Mm-hmm. All of that Robin Hood was like at the end of 2019.
Well, so that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
So how many of those hours were the like more recent BBC Robin Hood show that I watched like multiple seasons of without you?
I mean, a lot of them.
Right, but that was when you had already gone back to work and I was on parental leave.
Gotcha.
So it was really easy.
Gotcha.
I was on parental leave with a tiny baby that could just hang out while I was watching TV.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
It was really easy to watch a lot of Robin Hood.
Yeah. Man, I don't know what to do with that information. 230 hours.
Nothing.
I mean, I
we
guess
have a show. This is what we do.
I guess that's a lot. Like, I mean, it feels like a lot, but like, I guess if you were just watching stuff just for your own benefit, you wouldn't necessarily add it up like this, but it probably would add up to many, many hours.
Yeah.
Any given Netflix binge or whatever. So it's not that sad. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine.
Sweetie, it's great.
It's great.
Thank you for doing all of the math.
You're welcome.
So with that first part out of the way, we need to get into our top 10s. Now, I feel like for those who've heard it, You know how we do this? For those who haven't, here's how we do this.
And also, even if you have heard it before, it would be flattering ourselves to think that you remember from a full year ago
Yeah.
that you've kept that piece of information like cherished in your brain, how we do these lists at the end of the year.
Yeah. So we do these draft style because if we actually sat down and tried to make a top 10 list for all the things we learned, we would fight and we wouldn't record the episode.
That almost happened the first year. We had a big fight.
Yep. And I think we tried for a day to figure it out. And then we threw it out the window. We threw that idea out.
We said, get it out of here. Wow. That's the most inside joke. That's a joke between two adults and a baby. Not one person will get that joke.
Explain it.
It's just a thing we say to our baby that makes him laugh. And we throw the toy across the room and say, get it out of here. And he thinks it's really funny. That is literally an inside joke with a baby.
Has anybody ever done the thing where you say a thing and whatever part of your brain okay, so let's say you want to quote something. One part of your brain says, I am going to identify the quote that I'm going to say. And it goes back to the stacks and it looks through all of the records and it finds the quote and then it brings it to the town crier and it gives it to another part of your brain whose job it is to actually make the mouth say the quote. But sometimes the second person does the job without the knowledge of the first person. So sometimes, has anyone ever said a thing and then you immediately go, oh, I think I'm quoting something. I don't know what I'm quoting though.
Yeah.
And then a day later you remember. So one time Calvin was holding a book and he threw it on the ground and I just went, get it out of here. And then he laughed. And then we just did that for an hour and he laughed every time I said it. And I didn't know what I was quoting. And I was quoting Bradley Whitford's character on Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, which is esoteric even for me.
Yeah, I don't know why we're even going into how deep this deep cut is.
I like it.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, that's how much we say it. We just say it in unison without even thinking.
Yeah.
So we said we do not want to do this system. So the system we're doing is...
We do not want you in the zoo.
Yeah.
Out you go. Out with you.
Put me in the zoo is great. So we're doing it draft style. And we're not doing it draft style where you get 5 and I get 5 and one of us is the winner. It's not that kind of thing. We're just building our top 10 in a draft style.
Yeah.
And the way it's going to work is we're going to start with number 1. Now, I went first last year, so you get to go first this year.
I want to point out we did not know that off the top of our heads. We did have to go back and consult the previous episode.
And I didn't want to flip a coin again. I just want to, let's just trade off every year.
Okay.
That's how it will work.
Great. It's a tontine.
And here's how this works. You are about to say our number 1 adaptation of the year.
I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to spit it out.
And
it's going to happen.
And if I disagree...
Nothing you can do about it.
Tough shit.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do. But number 2 is completely up to me.
Yes.
And whoever picks it gets to say the most about it.
Yeah.
So if you pick one of the ones I love, I might be a little disappointed that you got to say it.
Yeah, you probably will be.
And vice versa. I think we're going to be pretty in line with each other for this year.
Yeah, well, we just literally, the volume of stuff we had to pick from was less, and a lot of it was Robin Hood and a lot of it was Dracula.
Yeah, we did a lot of Draculas and Robin Hoods.
Yeah, Robin's Hood.
They show up on the list a lot.
Yeah,
those two boys. I was gonna say those two good boys. That one good boy and that one piece of shit.
Bad boy. He's a naughty man.
Okay. So I think we should get started. So we're going to go back and forth to make this first top 10. So we're going to do our top 10 adaptations of the year. I would love for you to go first. Would you like to take it away?
Yes. Usually I have a little run up to what I'm going to say, but I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm going to come out and say what our top adaptation of the entire year was for the 2019, 2020.
You forgot that
season.
It's 2020?
Listen. It's 1995, Sense and Sensibility.
Okay, I mean, that was my number 1 as well.
Obviously it was.
Obviously.
Do you want to talk about it?
No, I want you to talk about it. You got to say it. What am I going to say that you're not going to say?
I mean, I think the real thing that makes this adaptation such a gem is the script. itself, which is Emma Thompson really understanding the humor of the piece, right? Like reading the book, understanding the characters, understanding how funny it is, and not being afraid to deviate in her dialogue from what's in the book in order to be funny and touching and to tell the story, right, of Sense and Sensibility of these two sisters. Like, she wasn't afraid to change things. She wasn't afraid to cut people, although she did leave Margaret in, which is very important.
Can I quibble with something?
Yes.
I think she was afraid to cut things.
Was she?
'Cause one of the things we found out when we were working on it is that the producer of the movie, who's Donan, is that the name? I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's
I'm
okay.
not going to go back and look, but the producer of the movie pushed her a lot. And apparently she was like, this is the first movie she ever wrote. And she was kind of afraid to do that kind of stuff.
Well.
And they pushed her to do it.
Okay.
And they knew that she had it in her to do it. So I would only quibble that she wasn't afraid.
I guess I wasn't talking necessarily by saying she wasn't afraid about her actual emotional state. I guess I meant like in the finished product, there are cuts made that were not made in other versions that we watched. For example, Lady Middleton is dead.
Yeah.
She's dead. But beyond that, the casting is so impeccable. The chemistry between all of the characters, you believe that they're sisters. You believe that they're mother and daughter. You believe that...
You believe all three of them are sisters.
You believe all three of them are sisters. You believe in all of the romantic relationships so well. You understand why someone as smart and witty and interesting as Eleanor would fall for Edward, because he's so nice and so good. You understand why Marianne would fall for Colonel Brandon, because he's fucking Alan Rickman.
You also understand why she would fall for Willoughby.
Yeah, because he's so cute. And married Emma Thompson.
You'd understand why Emma Thompson fell for Willoughby.
I do understand. Even like the little minor characters. I know I talked about this at length in the episode, but Hugh Laurie as Mr. Parker and Imelda Staunton as Charlotte are so good and so funny. It's just like, it just gives that color to the entire story. And it's just a gem. It's a delight. It's fun to watch. I'd happily watch it anytime.
Can I add two quick things?
Yes.
One, three quick things. One, I agree with everything you said. Two, from an adaptation standpoint, I think that the entire first act of this movie, when they introduce Edward in a new way, is my favorite section of any movie that we watched this year. Like from the perspective of being an adaptation, because it makes Edward work.
Yeah.
It just makes him work so well. I understand why someone would be interested in him. They just do such a good job with that. But then the only other thing I was going to say is that Ang Lee did such an incredible job.
Yeah.
Like it's exactly the thing that I feel like I value more and more as time goes on, which is I want someone who's going to come in a movie with like quiet confidence. And it wasn't showy. He wasn't drawing attention to himself. He was drawing attention to the actors and to the story.
Yeah.
And it is impeccable.
And the man loves a field of sheep.
He really does.
Really loves them.
Oh, sheep. They're great.
I love sheep.
That is a great number one. It was so good that it was my number one as well.
Great. What is your number? Well, not even your number two. What is our number two? Please tell me.
So our number two is, I don't even know if it's unique on the list, but I think it is worth calling out that this one is an adaptation of an adaptation.
Oh.
I cannot tell you how much I loved and how much it has stuck with me. 1979's Nosferatu the Vampire.
Oh.
Directed by Werner Herzog.
That's great, because that wasn't even on my list. So there it is, number two.
I loved it so fucking much. When we did our Dracula episode, there were a lot of pleasant surprises.
Yes.
This was like one of the most fun episodes to prep for because we got to watch a shitload of Dracula, and very little of it was like bad.
Yeah.
Even the ones that weren't fantastic were fun to watch because we got to compare all of them.
Yeah, a lot of Dracula in August, as I recall, when we were watching those.
Yeah. There were a couple that stood out as ones that I really, really enjoyed. But the experience of watching the original Nosferatu and then the remake Nosferatu the Vampire was so special because I talk so much about context in this show, watching them in the context of every other Dracula movie where these two movies, I mean, really the original, and then Werner Herzog loves the original, really embrace the fact that Dracula is a monster. He's a bad guy, which is what the book says as well. So like Frank Langella, sexy Dracula, I'm so done with that. I'm done with it. I'm over it. I'm not here for it. I don't ever want to see it. Get it out of here.
Get it out of here.
Get it out of here. Get it out of my Dracula movies. And Nosferatu the Vampire is just so impeccably produced. It is so creepy. The performances are fantastic. The atmosphere is amazing. It's scary in a visceral way. It's scary in a emotional way. I love what it does for the female character. She like really becomes the hero of the story. The design is incredible. I love this movie, and most of all, I love it as a celebration of one person's love for a film of their country.
Yeah.
Because Werner Herzog is someone I just fucking am so fascinated by. He has gone on record to say that the original Nosferatu is the greatest German film of all time. So this was like a love letter to that.
Yeah.
And he is an amazing filmmaker, and I love 1979's Nosferatu the Vampire, number 2 on our list.
Awesome. So moving on to number 3. There was one property that we looked at in the last year that was the most special to me, I would say, in terms of my own like history with it and my experience as a younger person with this property. And when we were pulling together our short list, I said, this is going to be on our list because it allowed me, the viewer, or me, the player, to experience the story of Robin Hood in a way that no other property did. A fully immersive experience, a fully multi-hour immersive experience into the story of Robin Hood that cannot be recreated in any medium except for that of video game. And so our number 3 on our list, top adaptations, is the Sierra video game Conquest of the Longbow from 1991.
This is ridiculous. I can't believe that this is number 3 on our list.
It's number 3 on the list.
This should have been number 10 with a bullet.
No. Number 3, because when I looked at that short list, that was the one that jumped out to me.
Hang on.
That was what I wanted to talk about.
I need to consult the rules. Can I contest this? Shit.
No.
I cannot contest this.
You cannot.
This
Overruled, sir.
Always and forever shall be number 3 on our list of greatest adaptations of the 3-year spectacular.
Yes, that is correct.
I will say really quickly, from my experience watching you watch the YouTube Let's Play of the entire game, looked kind of fun.
It was like 4 or 5 hours long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was many days of Conquest of the Longbow in our household.
Yes.
No, in all seriousness, like the love you have for this game came out every minute that we were watching it, and it was kind of delightful to watch.
Yeah. I just love it, like as a video game, like never mind as an adaptation, but as a computer game from 1991. The art is so beautiful. The music is amazing. The storyline is fantastic. The way that it allows you, it's not an open world game per se, but it does allow you to choose a storyline and kind of stick with it. It allows you to be kind of a bad guy or a good guy in the way that it gives you a lot of choice in the way that you interact with the world, which was really unusual for the time. Like think about like Mario or Sonic. Do you know what I mean? Like that was what we were playing at the time, and this is very, very, very different. It really allows you to choose a path, and I just loved it. I loved it then. I love it now. It's really wonderful. If you can find a way to play it, I definitely recommend it. I don't know what the experience of watching the Let's Play would be like if you've never played the game. I suspect it might be a little boring.
Yes.
But still, highly recommend. A wonderful immersive experience of Robin Hood.
Always and forever, number 3 on our list.
Yes.
All right. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna keep the Robin Hood train going. Number 4 on our list, The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1938.
Whoa.
Like, would you say that from what you saw, would you say that my love of this movie, based on my experience of it from my childhood, is pretty similar to your experience of how much you love Conquest of the Longbow?
For sure.
I fucking love this movie so much. It's amazing. I'm not the only person that loves this movie. We're talking about Errol Flynn, Basil Rathbone, Olivia de Havilland, Claude Rains. Holy fuck. It's amazing. It kind of did so much to define the blockbuster. It is, for so many people still, like 80 years later, the definitive Robin Hood. And I mean, it's the definitive Robin Hood in as much as so many Robin Hoods that we watched after it reference it, either indirectly or overtly. It's one of the most fun movies ever made.
Yeah.
And like delightfully unproblematic.
Sure.
Like, I'm not going to say totally unproblematic, but it's hard to watch older movies.
Yes.
It really is, because I think it's important to judge everything by the standards of our time.
Uh-huh.
To whatever extent you are comfortable with, but I think it's important to do it at all.
Yeah.
And this movie is just, it's fun. He's a good guy who robs from the rich and gives to the poor, and he's just the most dashing person ever.
Yeah.
And the movie just it just starts, you're in the action, all the actors are fantastic, the writing is fantastic, the music is one of the greatest scores in the history of cinema. It is a gorgeous movie to look at.
The colors are so saturated, so beautiful. I remember thinking that this time through, how pretty it is to look at.
Mm-hmm. And it does so much to kind of redefine the character in a way that is still, I think, really respectful of versions that came before. I don't think it was saying, this is the new version and we're throwing everything else out. It was, hey, you love Robin Hood? We love Robin Hood too. We made something we think you're going to like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's my impression of it.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's great. Well, moving on to number 5. This was one that really surprised me. It snuck up on me. It was something that was based on a property that we had covered before in a previous season and had been subsequently released. And I really thought that we were just watching it just to check a box, right? Like just so we could say that we had seen it. And I ended up loving it the most of almost any of the versions of this that we watched, and we watched a great number of them. And that is 2017's Little Women.
Oh, it's so good.
The PBS version, not the Greta Gerwig one.
Not the 2019 one.
That's not the one I'm speaking of. I'm speaking of the one starring Emily Watson and a bunch of girls who were all really good and felt like sisters to me.
Can I ask you a question really quickly?
Yes.
Talk about expectations.
Yeah.
Based on what you heard, what were you expecting going into the Greta Gerwig Little Women?
I expected to be just off my feet, blown away. I expected it to be so amazing and for me to love every minute of it.
And what were your expectations of the 2017 PBS version?
I thought it was going to be terrible. I really thought it was going to be bad. I thought it was going to be a certain other property PBS version that we saw that shall not be named because it might come up later.
I mean, it shall not be named for a period of time.
Yes.
It's gonna come up later.
Yeah. I really, really thought it was going to be bad because I had seen a preview for it and it looked bad. And I was not looking forward to watching a full miniseries of it. I can tell you that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I just loved it. I wished there were more of it. I wished it was a series. I wished it was like Anne with an E, right?
Yeah.
That they had taken those characters and those actors and that set and those writers and done the whole book. I just wished they had done the whole book because I really wanted to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got plenty. I got 3.5 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
I just the reason that I'm not mentioning the cast is because I didn't notice the cast. It just felt like the March Family.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I didn't really notice a lot of the art of it. And the Greta Gerwig one was good, but I could definitely tell you the names of everybody who was in the cast. And when Emma Watson was on screen, I could say, oh, there's Emma Watson playing Meg.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, when we were talking about it, it got very confusing because there's Emily Watson who plays Marmee in this version and Emma Watson who plays Meg in the Greta Gerwig version. And I think we were talking at cross purposes at one point about who was who.
I mean, you weren't confused. I was confused.
That's fair enough. I didn't want to throw you under the bus there.
It's fine. It's nice down here.
Yeah. But
that kind of year.
But it was it was beautiful. It was raw. It was real, the emotion. And I think maybe just now as a mother, the fact that they really emphasized kind of Marmee's struggle and her feelings, and they spent a lot of time with her and her relationship with her daughters and how she felt about everything that was happening in their lives spoke to me perhaps in a way that it wouldn't have spoken to me in years past, but I just loved it. I would absolutely watch it again, and again, one of the biggest surprises I think of the year.
It's on my list too. And now I don't have to say it. You've given me an extra one.
Great.
Which is super cool. I have nothing to add. It was so good. I'm a little torn about this one. No, fuck it. I'm going to do it. Number 6.
Go for it.
It's weird. I'm going to end up repeating myself a lot. And I went back and forth about whether I wanted to include this given the fact that 1979's Nosferatu the Vampire was already number 2.
Uh-huh.
But fuck it. Conquest of the Longbow is on the list.
Yes.
So Nosferatu's on here twice.
Oh boy.
Number 6 on our list is 1922's Nosferatu, directed by F.W. Murnau.
A lot of sisters and a lot of vampires. That's what happened this year.
It was amazing for so many of the reasons that I said that the remake was amazing. The only reason I put the remake above it is just because like it worked for me on a few more levels. And I cannot. This is probably the most I have ever lost myself in the viewing of a silent movie. I just think it's hard. It's hard in 2020 to really lose yourself. I can't speak for everybody, but I think I'm speaking for a lot of people when I say that it's a little hard to kind of give yourself up to the experience of watching a silent black and white movie. That being said, I got as close as I've ever gotten to fully giving myself up to a movie.
Yeah.
This movie is A, fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Genuinely. B, fucking terrifying.
Oh my God, when he's standing in the window, like across the way.
Yeah.
Just staring.
Like, that might be the scariest shot in any version of Dracula that we watched.
Yo, yeah,
like
it
a
definitely
single
is.
moment, holy fuck. That when like all the character names are different. Like one of the things that I like in Herzog's version is he changes all the characters' names back to like the book character names. But kind of famously, this was not a licensed remake.
Right.
So he's not Dracula, he's Orlok.
Right.
And all the characters' names have been changed and they got sued.
Right, because this movie is so old that the book Dracula was still in copyright.
Yeah. So it was not a fun thing. So there's a totally like not legit remake, and yet also is, I think in many ways, the definitive adaptation of Dracula.
Yeah.
It just captures so much for the book. I said it before, Dracula's a monster. This embraces the fact that he's a monster. When Harker, or quote unquote Harker, is in the castle and Orlok is like coming down the hallway at him, like it's the greatest sense of dread I think I've ever felt in a movie. Like that haunts my nightmares.
Yeah.
And that's what Dracula should do.
Yeah.
And Bela Lugosi never haunted my nightmares.
Yeah.
Frank Langella never haunted my nightmares.
Maybe your dreams.
I mean, he was so beautiful. It cannot be overstated just how beautiful Frank Langella was in the late 70s. I'm not gonna lie about this one. I cannot bullshit you, everybody. Dracula's a monster. Orlok is the epitome of that. Holy fuck, this movie's great. Goddamn, what a fantastic
It's just
fucking
so crazy
movie.
that movie is 100 years old.
98 years old.
Yeah, that just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Blows my mind as I creep closer and closer towards, contemplating my own mortality. The idea of something being 100 years old just really, really overwhelms me.
Yeah. I'm going to implore everybody to watch it. It's worth it. Don't find like a free version. Don't watch the free version that's streaming on Amazon Prime. Rent it. Spend money to watch it because it is...
Or don't.
No, watch it. Watch it. It's so good. It is so good.
I don't think in these times we can, with good conscience, tell anyone to spend money on anything that's available for free. That seems very privileged.
We'd like to take this moment to thank our patrons on Patreon.
That's right.
We appreciate your support. I'm saying this like as a joke at the moment, but what I'm saying is serious.
Yes.
You're wonderful, and we cannot thank you enough. And just a reminder to everyone that we are on Patreon, and we have a fun bonus show and all kinds of stuff.
Every other week, bonus show. We've never forgotten it once.
Paying for stuff you enjoy is not a crime. It's totally fine.
Okay.
It's totally fine.
Do you want to move on?
No, I want to talk about Nosferatu for another hour.
Well, you could just go listen to that episode.
I could do that. What's number 7 on our list, Sweetness? My darling.
So I feel like whenever we do these top lists, a theme of what we value in an adaptation tends to emerge. And like this year is no different. We always talk about this, and it always sort of works out the same, which is that either we love things that embodied the spirit of the book in such a way, or the original material in such a way that we look at it and go, God, that is a perfect adaptation that reflects the book so well. Or we love things that kind of take the original spirit of the material and really run with it, but they do a great job with it, right? We love both of those things. And we're not people necessarily that hew above all things to, well, a great adaptation is one that so closely matches the source material.
Yeah.
In this case, however, there was one thing that we watched this year. Well, a lot of things, but this is the one that if you pointed to the book and said, I want a perfect adaptation that matches the spirit and the feel of this book, that all of the characters are just leap from the page, this would be the one that I would point to and say these adapters did that. And that's A Room with a View from 1985. And I know there was a particular character in it that you thought was particularly wonderful. But I just loved just the casting in this. I think is so good. I think they did such a good job. I think the characters like really spring to life from the page. And they took some liberties, I think, with some of the plot. Like they condensed things, and as you must. It's a Merchant Ivory production, so it looks beautiful. It's shot beautifully, and the costumes are very, very pretty. And last season we did Howard's End. Which I think had some problems with like maybe taking itself a little too seriously.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that this version did that necessarily. Like it was very funny. Jeremy's discovered a newfound love for Forrester, but I think it was mostly the cast and the way that they interacted with each other. They were so believable. And the production just looks beautiful. It's so of its time. Like it's a comedy of manners, and so you really have to be immersed in that time period with those type of people in that particular class, in that particular location and part of the world for it to make any sense, because the way they all interact with each other is so specific to their class. And I thought it captured that really, really well. So that is my nomination for number 7.
It was very, very good.
It was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Number 8. Yep. Okay. Sometimes you start something and your initial reaction is, oh, how long is this? Because sometimes things don't grab you at the beginning. And sometimes all you see are the flaws because it's just not doing it for you. But then sometimes something can happen where the positives add up and the negatives just kind of fade away. And with this particular one, the positives added up so much. By the end of it, I had completely forgiven every single fault in this one. And I was so touched by it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. And that was 2012 to 2013's The Lizzie Bennet Diaries.
Whoa.
I fucking loved it. I loved it. I stand here now as a person who loves the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. Like, do you agree with me? Like, it started out rough.
Yeah.
Like, it is a super, super cheap production. The acting across the board is not fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the acting is stellar.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the kind of like so you were playing kind of coy about someone in a room with a view.
Yeah.
Because I think we're pretty sure they're going to show up on the best cast.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hold off on them.
Yeah.
But like, there was one person in particular in the Lizzie Bennet Diaries that I think is also going to show up on the top cast of the year.
Yeah.
That I don't want to say who, like, for me, made the show.
Yeah.
I don't even need to say who it is. All I can say is that some of the performances were fantastic. It demonstrated both such a love of the source material of Pride and Prejudice, but also such a willingness to experiment with a form,
Mm-hmm.
which is not just like digital video or online. I'm talking about YouTube.
Yeah.
Like literally experiment with YouTube as a form, because it's not just, we watch a lot of YouTube and it's not just a streaming service. It is its own animal right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people who make content for YouTube end up making content about YouTube.
Yeah.
Because it is so singular. And I just am fascinated by it. I'm endlessly fascinated by it. I'm still thinking about this adaptation. And they had such commitment. This is easily the kind of thing where they could have made, because there was 100 episodes of this.
Yeah, well, just of the Lizzie Bennet Diaries,
yeah.
not even counting all of the little spin-offs and things.
I mean, you're watching 140 3 to 5 minute episodes of a show. And we watched it the wrong way.
Yeah.
We watched it all in one go,
Mm-hmm.
which is absolutely the wrong way to watch it. You're supposed to watch it over the course of a year.
Right.
And even then, it just hit me so hard by the end of it.
Yeah.
I remember, like, I was hitting you at the end. I was like drinking, and it was finally when Lizzie and Darcy were getting together, and I was just like it had rekindled something in me that had responded so much to like the 95 BBC Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
Like I finally got it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I got it. I'm emotionally invested. This is fantastic.
Yep.
It just pleased me so much. It was
Yes.
so wonderful.
Yes. I do appreciate. This is sort of like Conquest of the Longbow was for you. I do appreciate that you enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the enjoyment that you got out of it.
Always and forever shall it be number 8
Yes. Yes,
on
indeed.
our 3-year spectacular top 10. You get your last one.
Well, this is a first. This is a first because never have I just done my top 5. We've always had some overlap. We've had
Oh.
no overlap whatsoever unless this was what you were planning for number 10, which I think it probably was not.
No, we had overlap because we had Sense and Sensibility.
That's true.
That was number 1
But
for both
I
of
didn't
us.
have to go down my list because of something you said, I
No.
guess is what I'm saying.
No, it's true. I did pick Nosferatu twice.
That's fair. And you knew I was not going to pick it even once.
I thought you might.
I knew you were going to pick it. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
This is a property, again, that I was aware of from childhood, that I really, really liked. I was a little bit worried about how it was going to stand up because I had been playing it up so hard to Jeremy, and neither of us had ever read the book. And the book did not give me a lot of hope for how well the movie was going to hold up, but I found that it was
The Anne of Green Gables?
no. Don't interrupt me. I
Go.
didn't interrupt you.
I'm sorry.
I found that it was an intensely enjoyable experience. Is this the best movie ever made? No. But
Is it number 9 on our
is it number 9 on our list? Is it a rollicking good time? Hell yeah. The Poseidon Adventure, 1972.
Okay.
So much fun. So many emotions.
It's got to be morning after.
Wonderful music. Excellent performances.
Ask me what that song's called.
What is that song called?
It's called the theme from the Poseidon Adventure.
Like 1970s disaster schlock, like the best of a genre, you know, like so good for what it's trying to be. You couldn't ask for anything better. So enjoyable to watch. And like in these times, who doesn't want to just watch something about a fucking sinking ship? That's upside down and slowly filling with water. What a metaphor for our current situation. No, it's
Do you feel like Gene Hackman dying represents like every person this year that we've lost? It's just been shocking.
I wouldn't want to say that. I wouldn't want to go that far. I wouldn't want to like besmirch their memories by comparing them to Gene Hackman throwing himself in a fire pit.
I'm just saying, you were the one who first drew the metaphor.
Yes, it's true. I was not going that specific with it. But again, and also, you know, not for nothing, the testament of the ability of something to rise above the source material, like, really cannot be understated.
Fuck this book.
It's so much fun to watch. Like, I would recommend it to anyone. Don't read the book, but definitely watch 1972.
If you want to read a bad book,
if you want to read a bad book, by all means, read the book.
Find a book by an old white guy in the 60s or 70s who knows a lot about a thing.
We have had such terrible experiences with these shitty dude novelists from the 70s. Not one good, not one, but so much fun to make fun of.
Not one?
No.
No, none of them. Ugh. Bleh.
All right, you want to take us home?
I need to think about this for a second because I have a few alternates and I need to pick the right one.
There's
All right.
got to be a morning after.
I'm going to tell a story. When I was a child, I played baseball. And there was like one season where my baseball team, we didn't win a single game. In fact, we only tied one game. We lost all of them and we tied one. I think it was my fault because the only reason they tied was because I wasn't there.
That's bad news.
That's what I think. No, it's not Bad News Bears. We're not doing. I'm not putting Bad News Bears on here.
But it was a funny joke that I made.
It was good. It was good. But then, like the next year, I played on a team that did very, very well. And that was always like my best memory of playing baseball when I was a kid. It was great. It was the perfect era where like the coach still pitched. So it was still really fun. And the parents weren't insane about it. And I'm telling all of this just to say one thing. I won an award that year. And everyone won an award.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had that, right?
Like the Paper Plate Awards, like that it was like most likely to do a thing.
Exactly. Everyone got one. Everyone got one that was tied to their performance that year. And they were all baseball related.
Oh, okay.
And what I got was most improved hitter. And I was so proud of my most improved hitter award. Because you know what?
You went from 0 to 1?
I fucking was the most improved hitter. By the end of the season, I was hitting them. I was doing such a good job hitting that ball with that stick. And I started the year very badly. And I genuinely deserved it. And should I be considering this one of my major accomplishments of my life? Like, no, absolutely not. I was a kid that got like a gimme award. But you know what? Every time I think about it, it makes me happy.
Okay.
Because I actually was the most improved hitter.
He's pointing very violently in my face.
So number 10 on our list, I would say is the most improved hitter award
Oh boy.
of the year. Is it, to your point before, is it the best movie? Like, no. But I think this movie made the one change. You can literally point at one singular change that it made it such a much better and more interesting and more rewatchable movie than the original.
I don't know what it is. I'm
This
so
is
excited.
1988's Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
That's not bad. That's not bad. That's fun. You know what? I feel like you sold it a little short. I think it's a great movie.
No, but I think it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
But like, if it wasn't for the ending, I would say it's a fun adaptation.
Mhm,
it's like, it's a fun updating. Yeah, you take David Niven and Marlon Brando, and now we got Michael Caine and Steve Martin. Like, yes, great actor, like actors working in their prime. That's fantastic. You can point at a lot of stuff and say it's a super fun movie. But they made one fucking decision that is so brilliant and stands the test of time, which is they made the female character interesting.
Yes.
God,
Amazing. Shocking when that happens.
Amazing. Because like I'm gonna go ahead and spoil them right now. If you don't want to hear it, skip a couple minutes ahead and then go back and listen to the episode and watch Dirty Rotten Scoundrels because it's a fun movie. But basically, these two shitheads are con men, and they try to con this lady out of her money. They find out she doesn't have any, and what it turns and she's really sweet and just a really good person, and then they get in a fight over conning her because one doesn't want to. Turns out at the end, she was the bigger con artist and conned both of them. And it flips the whole movie upside down. It's one of the most satisfying ends to a movie I've ever seen. It's way more interesting and fun and complex than I'm describing it right now. But I'd never seen the original Bedtime Story.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched it, and I spent 90 minutes waiting for Shirley Jones to go from sweet innocent to brilliant con artist.
Never did.
Never happens. And I was so confused because it sucked. She was nothing. Her character was nothing. Introduced 45 minutes in, the same for the rest of the movie, and such a much better person than these other shitheads, and gets stuck with Marlon Brando, who's a terrible person and lies to her. It's bullshit.
Does not matter.
Nowhere near as satisfying an ending as the remake. It is a singular change that I think absolutely means that it deserves a place in our top 10 for the year.
There it is.
What a fucking great change.
Well, that's an eclectic top 10 list, I tell you what.
Can I give an honorable mention?
Sure.
One that I thought you were describing.
Okay.
When you described A Room with a View, you were talking about like how much they loved it and how they wanted to do like literally a perfect adaptation, like page for page.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Akage no An.
Oh, that was on my list, but I did not choose to include it.
Yeah, I think, can that just be our honorable mention?
Totally fine.
Yeah, this list goes to 11.
There it
and
is.
it's the Japanese Anne of Green Gables TV show.
Yeah.
Which is like, just really was surprising.
Yeah, we meant to watch more of it. We haven't yet, but we will.
Yeah.
This is good.
Really worth a watch, but I don't think we need to spend much more time on it.
Totally fine.
But that's our top 10.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty solid top 10.
Yeah.
I feel good about it.
So before we move on to top cast, we had a few little mini awards, if you will.
Mhm.
Awards that were decided before the pre-recorded before the program.
Yeah.
Special mentions. Do you want to go into those?
Yeah, well, I'll start with the shortest list.
Okay.
These are a couple of short lists. This is the shortest one. It is the shortest because there's only one thing on it. This is the short list for best product placement in any movie. And that goes to
It can only go to one thing.
1999's The Thomas Crown Affair and Pepsi One, drunk by Rene Russo.
Yes, the most beautiful drink of Diet Pepsi ever in any movie whatsoever. We got a screenshot of it. It's so good. It's literally a 5-second Pepsi commercial in the middle of this movie.
It's beautiful. This movie, Jesus Christ.
It was the most ridiculous shot of any movie I've ever seen.
Ugh.
It was amazing.
Ugh, it's so good. Okay, next short list. Worst original property.
Oh, this is fun.
There's only 3 items on this list.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to get one out of the way. The Poseidon Adventure 1969.
Oh, that book is a pile of dog shit.
Garbage.
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 And then we also have 1954's Sabrina, we decided was on this list.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, again, one of those things that comes as a surprise.
Yeah.
In a bad way.
Yeah.
because it's
I think they call that a disappointment.
a classic movie.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, it's Sabrina. It's a romp. It's got
Sweetie, do you want to watch a movie with Audrey Hepburn?
Audrey Hepburn.
Do you want to watch a movie with Bogey?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
It's going to be good, right?
It was not.
No.
It was really not. It was so disappointing. It was so of its time when it came to gender and class and money and I even like kind of xenophobia. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like the whole thing with like going to France and coming back, and it was so of its time that it could not overcome all of those things to be just enjoyable to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not find it enjoyable.
It couldn't even overcome like being remade in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like we also didn't like the remake.
Yeah, because the plot is actually terrible.
Yeah,
literally the plot is very, very bad.
Like the only way it would work is if you say we're just going to throw this out because it doesn't work. Fucking case in point, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yeah.
Like you need to make some serious changes if you want it to work now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was unfortunate.
Sabrina.
Mhm.
And then last on the list is Flowers in the Attic, 1979.
I disagree. This is against my objection.
This fucking trash heap of a dumpster fire of a shit piled book. Holy shit. What a fucking terrible book you made me read that I could not put down.
So good.
Couldn't put it down. But like, holy shit. Absolutely deserves to be on the worst original properties.
Disagree. Disagree.
But
All
anyway,
right,
those
moving
are
on.
Well, then we have our next short list.
Oh yes, I'm
this
sorry.
one's a little
I
bit
didn't
longer.
realize we're doing that one now.
There's 6 items on this one.
Oh,
I don't know
goodness.
what order to go in. This was best theme song.
Ooh.
I'm just going to kind of pick some things out. All right, I am going to start with Robin of Sherwood, 1984 to 1986. This was... Do you want me to sing it?
Yeah.
I don't think I can sing it. It's very like synthy. Yeah, I can't sing it. It's by like I described this in the Robin Hood episode, but like it's by a band called Claneth. Like Enya used to be in the band. It's really weird, totally out of place. Does not work for Robin Hood. It's not that. It's not that one. So that was the Robin of Sherwood, 1984 to 1986. Let's do The Italian Job, 1969.
We are the Self-Preservation Society.
We are the No, you're not singing it right.
Oh,
we are the Self-Preservation Society. You got to sing it with Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
He was in the group.
Michael Caine.
But yeah, written by Quincy Jones.
So
Michael
much
Caine's
fun.
one of the singers.
I guess it's not technically the theme song. It's
Doesn't
the ending
matter.
song.
Does
but
not matter.
So much fun.
It's the one everybody remembers. I mean, the aforementioned theme from the Poseidon Adventure
Yeah.
is clearly on the list.
Yes, of
It's
course.
so fucking fantastic. The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1955 to 1959.
Robin Hood, riding through the glen. Robin Hood, with his band of men. Feared by the bad, loved by the good. Robin Hood, Robin Hood. So that's the end credits.
Yeah.
But we loved the beginning too because there was always like a little song at the beginning that would tell of what Robin's exploits were going to be. Just about that same length, and it was that's so much
It
fun.
was just a delight. We already mentioned Akage no An. Was like the most just amazing, in-your-face, crazy 1970s Japanese pop like anthem for Anne Shirley
So
of
good.
Green Gables. It was so good. All of these, I'm going to try to link to all of them.
Yeah.
So check the show notes out because I'm going to try to get as many of these as I can. And then finally, 1973's Disney's Robin Hood.
I mean,
What's the theme song? I think it's Alan
Robin
Adale's
Hood,
song
Little
from.
John running through the forest.
I don't know.
We're gonna get a copyright claim. We can't sing the Disney songs.
No, we can't. But like, I would say dee da dee da dee da doo doo. Like,
do da do da do do.
like
No,
that
no,
to
I
me is
think
the
it's
theme
oodle
song.
lolly, oodle lolly, golly, what a day. Because they sing it
Oh,
at the
yeah.
end when they're driving away in the carriage. It's oodle lolly, golly, what a day.
Like either of them could be the greatest.
mean,
like I saved it to the end for a reason.
Either of them are the goat, you know?
You know, like, and this one almost ended up on our top 10 adaptations.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, and like it gets 2 songs on the best theme because the music in that movie is fucking great.
Yeah.
It's so. No, I'm going to talk about it for 1 second. What a weird fucking adaptation. It should not work because why would you take Robin Hood and make it Western?
I mean, or
Why-
animals.
Well, no, but that makes sense because
'Cause
it's
it's
Disney.
Disney, yeah.
But why would you make it a Western?
I don't
it shouldn't.
know.
It shouldn't work, and yet it's fantastic. So good.
Because someone saw the word sheriff and was confused.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's do top cast.
All right, you can go first.
Yeah, I'm going to go first on this one. I'm just going to get out of the way. The entire cast of Sense and Sensibility 1995.
Yay!
Was that your number one?
No, it was my number 2.
Ooh. Everything you said. Everyone's incredible in this movie. It is just perfectly cast. We try not to do this too much where we say like the whole cast of a thing. But like when you literally can't point to anybody, if there was a single performance in this movie that wasn't stellar, I would have said, no, we can't nominate the entire cast.
Yeah.
We could maybe nominate like 3 people like as a group. Literally every single person in this movie is fantastic. Like you want to talk about, like, let's just bring up one example of chemistry, actual chemistry.
Yeah.
Emma Thompson married fucking Greg Wise.
Yeah.
Like that is a thing that happened.
Married Willoughby.
Like you can see
Picked him out and married him.
you can literally see the moment on screen where she falls in love with this guy. And maybe
She was coming off a nasty divorce.
Mhm.
She was tender. She was ready for the picking.
Like maybe it's
Her
not
heart was bruised,
maybe
but
it's
not
not
broken.
the moment where she fell in love with him, but it is
Maybe.
love. There's real love happening, captured on film.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
In the mid-90s.
It's so beautiful. It brings a tear to my eye.
I don't even think I don't think we need to mention anyone else in particular because the cast across the board is just perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I called a lot of them out by name.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the top adaptation.
95 was a good year for Jane
It's
Austen.
a good year for movies in general.
Yeah.
95 was a great year.
Mhm.
All right,
Number 2.
Okay, so this is a weird one. I believe this is our only top cast nominee from a film that's on our bottom adaptation shortlist. Certainly the only nominee from a film that was on both our top and bottom adaptation shortlist. And the only shared nomination by 2 actors who are in 2 different movies.
Go for it.
I would like to nominate for this award.
You just not nominate a point. A point
I would like to appoint
as
this
number
award.
2.
Alan Rickman for his performance in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, with a sort of remora / honorable mention of a nomination to Roger Rees, both R.I.P., both dearly departed friends. Alan Rickman and Roger Rees for his performance playing Alan Rickman in Robin Hood Men in Tights. 2 more delicious performances could not appear on screen, especially as inextricably linked as they are. 2 actors having more fun with a role could not possibly exist. So much fun, such a bright spot in Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, such a perfect part of Robin Hood Men in Tights. These 2 fine actors both taken too soon. Number 2 spot sharing on our list.
I think 2 things that are worth mentioning. I really want to dig in and let everyone know Robin Hood Prince of Thieves was 100% both on our short list for best adaptations and worst adaptations.
I said that. It wasn't a lie.
I know. I want to be clear about that. No, the best thing I can think about Alan Rickman is just like, did anybody ever in school, like especially college, like watch people doing a group presentation when like of the 4 of them, 3 clearly were fine getting a C and just showed up, but one of them was like, fuck all of you. We are getting a goddamn A on this, and you are not going to drag me down.
You're coming with me.
Yeah, like this is someone rising above the material.
Yeah.
This is someone muscling their way to greatness, just shoving everyone else out of the way. And like he hired his own writers to punch up his own dialogue. Like I just imagine Costner.
Does that?
Like I imagine Kevin knocking on his door,
His
just going
trailer.
like, "Hey, Alan, I was wondering, do you think you could? Hey guys, no, I see your writers are in here. I was wondering if maybe you could punch up some of my dialogue. What? Fuck off? You say? You want me to fuck off? Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, I'm so sorry, Mr. Rickman. I'll leave. Even though Kevin Costner, much bigger star than Alan Rickman, especially
like,
at the time.
By orders of magnitude, a bigger star.
But like, what a fucking goddamn performance. And dearly departed Roger Rees as the sheriff of Rottingham.
Both dearly departed.
All right.
R.I.P.
Shall I?
Yes.
Number 3. This is someone. I like when we have a performance from something that didn't make the top 10 adaptations. I think that's really good. This was my favorite single performance across everything we watched.
Wow.
It was just, this is someone who was wonderful every single second they were on screen. Surprised me more. Like I heard they were good, And I kind of okay, so it's Florence Pugh from Little Women.
There it is.
From Greta Gerwig's Little Women. And much like the way you described your experience of Little Women of the 2019 one is exactly the same as mine, which is everything I heard was telling me that I was going to be giving it a standing ovation when the credits were rolling. And like I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. I had some problems with it, but like it's good. I would certainly never say it's anything less than a very, very good movie. And I heard such good things about Florence Pugh and have been hearing such good things about her over the last few years, but I keep missing the things she's in. Like I didn't see Midsummer.
I didn't see it.
Because too scary for me.
Yeah.
I didn't see Fighting with My Family. Like I just didn't see these movies. Holy fuck, her performance is incredible. Because they managed to do the thing that we don't like, which is that they have one actor play Amy at every age. And she literally, I think, is the exception that proves the rule, which is that you should not have one actor play that character across ages because it doesn't work. It genuinely doesn't work. Even in the 2017 PBS one,
Didn't really work.
It would have been better if it had been two actors.
Yeah.
Like, look at 1994. They did it perfectly. That's exactly how it should be done. But Florence Pugh makes it work. I buy her as immature. I buy her as mature. Clearly, Amy is Greta Gerwig's favorite character in the book.
Yeah.
And she found someone who was up to the task of delivering her favorite character on screen.
Yes.
Florence Pugh blew me away. Like if you watch this movie and only watch her performance every second she's on screen, it's incredible. I fucking loved her in it. Blew me away. So surprising.
Yeah. I agree. Strongly agree.
I'll be a little less effusive about the ones as we go on, but this one was just so good.
No, that's fine. So number 4, again, is going to go to someone in a movie that's not in our top 10, which is, as you say, kind of fun. And one might call this stunt casting. You could call it that. But it's not stunt casting when the person also does an amazing job as this character.
Wait, hang on. Do I smell a loophole?
Like in the space-time continuum?
No, just I think you've introduced a loophole in the rules.
Okay.
Because
Oh, yeah. I think I have, perhaps.
Because why what is this I'm detecting right now?
So Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy in the 1995 Jennifer Ely Pride and Prejudice won. I believe he won our top cast.
I think he was our number 1. Yeah.
And of course, as such, is ineligible for nomination in this category, except
as Mr. Darcy in the 95 Pride and Prejudice.
It is batshit. It is batshit that they got Colin Firth for this movie, for Bridget Jones's Diary, and he's so good in it. He's not playing Mr. Darcy. He's playing Mr. Darcy.
Wait, what? Mark Darcy, right?
He's playing Mark Darcy, but it's fucking Colin Firth. It's so good. It's so good. His performance is amazing. He's so attractive. He's so good as this character. Anybody would understand why she would want to be with him. And also, he's fucking Mr. Darcy. He's amazing. It's just the wish fulfillment of Bridget Jones as an extension of the viewer ending up with literally Mr. Darcy is an amazing experience. Highly recommend. He's so good in this role.
It's just such a special thing. I got no beef with that. He's on my list. I can cross him. You've given me an extra one to pick, which is great. You think I can move on to number 5?
Go for it.
So number 5 on our list, this was someone that I kind of mentioned before, but I didn't say who they were by name. So I want to go back to the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. Because as I said, there was one person in particular that made this whole thing work for me. They were the glue that held it together. And that was Laura Spencer as Jane Bennet. It's weird to say that she kind of put everyone else to shame. Like, she made everyone look bad because she was so believable. And it's weird to say it because the character she was playing was the opposite of a character that should do that. She was so good and so sweet and so decent, but such a genuine, believable performance that just went above and beyond the necessity of the format.
Yeah.
I fell in love with her just as a character from the minute that she was on screen.
Like, she could have played Jane in any production.
Oh, yeah. Yes. It was like a perfect interpretation. Like, I would say as perfect as Susanna Harker's version in 95.
It's high praise indeed.
Like, they were as perfect for very, very different productions, but deserves all the praise in the world. We don't have to go into crazy detail about it, but like, I feel like you're either never going to watch the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, which is totally fair, or you have watched the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, in which case I bet you kind of agree with me, or you think you might watch it, in which case I think you should. And I think
Yeah.
you should pay attention to Laura Spencer when she's on screen because she's just so perfect. She is number 5
Great.
on our list.
Well, moving on to number 6. I mentioned before that the book, The Poseidon Adventure, is fucking dog shit. But within that book, there is one character that the author clearly loved and had a lot of respect for. And the portrayal of this character is very loving, actually, in the book, despite the fact that this is a female character and he sort of hates women, I think. And that is Belle Rosen, the old Jewish lady traveling on the ship with her husband, who was a champion swimmer in her youth, who saves them all by swimming underwater the farthest way, farther than anybody could ever have swum other than her, and sacrificing herself. Played with such distinction by Shelley Winters in the movie. Oscar nominated for this performance, by the way. Oh, like, what is there to say? Just a perfect page to screen interpretation of this extremely sympathetic, wonderful, warm, sweet character. And they did take out the fact that she's pretty racist against people of Arab descent.
Yeah.
So thank God for that. It just, Shelley Winters, like, maybe uncontroversially, because I feel like she's well loved for the performance she gives in this movie. So good.
I think
And
the people that know it love it. I didn't know it.
Yeah. And her chemistry with Jack Albertson as her husband, like, kind of
Oh, yeah.
honorable mention for best cast, because they're a really great on-screen couple. That was number 6.
It's a really good one. Number 7. This is another one of those ones that I don't need to spend a ton of time on. Number 7 on our list is I might go out and say one of the best single pieces of casting in the history of cinema.
That's saying a lot.
It's literally the role. It's literally a role that almost no one else could have played, and that's Max Schreck in 1922's Nosferatu.
There it is.
And the only reason I don't want to talk about it for a really long time is because, like, you never even hear the guy's voice.
Mhm.
But if you're judging casting strictly by the physical presence that someone has on screen, I don't think you could find anyone better.
Mm-hmm.
It is genuinely, and I'm not the only person to say this, but, like, what amazing casting! Like, if it wasn't for Max Schreck, I don't think this movie works. Like that the shot in the window that you were talking about.
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
I don't think that works if it's someone else. But Max Schreck is terrifying in this movie, and, like, kind of fun too. Like, he's not just standing there being scary. He's got personality to him, and he's incredible.
Yeah.
He's incredible. Blows me away.
Yeah.
Just shocked me how scary and fun he was
Yes.
in this role.
Agree. All right. Well, we talked previously about the movie A Room with a View from 1985, and there are these two people weren't nominated together, but I want to just kind of mention them together as examples of great casting. They're not like an on-screen couple or anything, but my two favorite performances from this movie that I think is beautifully cast. One is Maggie Smith as Charlotte, which is kind of a minor role, but I really think that she embodies the spirit of that character so well. Charlotte is really, really annoying, but you're supposed to kind of love her, and I think Maggie Smith does. I feel like Maggie Smith really excels in that type of role. It's just sort of this fussy older lady, and this was sort of the beginning of her career playing that type of role. Like, she was still young and quite beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, she still is very beautiful, but, like, she was still in her 40s, like young, and she in this role she embarked upon, like, a full second career of playing this type of role. And the other one is a favorite of yours, which is Daniel Day-Lewis as Cecil. Just so fussy, so over the top. Again, like an obnoxious character that you sympathize with a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But are happy that Lucy doesn't marry him because he's terrible.
When he goes through his emo phase at the end is just...
He's, like, draped in black after she's refused his hand, just, like, driving away in the cart.
Like, it's
So good.
It's weird to come out of a movie with a feeling you've never had before, because I came out of this movie feeling very, very strongly that it is a damn shame that Daniel Day-Lewis doesn't do comedy more.
Yeah.
That's not a thing I ever thought or felt.
Mm-hmm.
This movie made me feel that.
Yeah.
So who is it? Who's number 8? Is it Daniel Day-Lewis or Maggie Smith? Because Daniel Day-Lewis was on my list over
Yeah,
here.
I mean, I'd like to nominate them together as a shared number 8.
Okay.
That's what I'd like to do.
Okay, I'm fine. It is yours.
I know it's bending the rules a little, but
Let me check the rules. No, hang on. You know what? You know what I'm finding?
There's no rules.
There are no rules.
There's no rules, just right.
We're making it up as we go along.
He's making it up as he goes along.
So, yeah, that's great.
That's it. There's number 8
on our list. All right. So I only get one more, huh?
That's correct.
See, I'm kind of stuck right now because I'm either going to say the entire cast of one of 2 movies or one person. We already did the entire cast of Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah, I mean, you said you weren't going to do it for any other movies, so maybe just do the one person.
Okay. No, I can't do it.
All right.
I can't do it. The entire cast of The Adventures of Robin Hood 1938.
I mean, there it is. You've already called them all out by name.
Like it's just one of the greatest examples of casting. These are people turning in their best work.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, maybe Claude Rains was better in Casablanca. Okay, whatever. But like, he's better in The Adventures of Robin Hood. Errol Flynn made the character. Olivia de Havilland's amazing. All the small characters, everyone's it's just so perfectly, impeccably cast. It is character defining for years to come.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we've reached number 10. And I do have a couple of different options, but I thought I'd go with kind of an unexpected one.
Yeah.
And this is someone that caught my attention for bringing just his whole self to a role in a minor role in a very, very minor production. And I would like to appoint for the number 10 spot for his performance in Pride and Prejudice Atlanta, Reginald VelJohnson. What a fucking delight. What a surprise. First of all, this movie was better than it had any right to be. We both really enjoyed it and found it to be super fun. But he was so funny in this role. He was in it 100%. Like, talk about someone who is not phoning it in, who is right there giving his all, giving a performance. So funny. His interactions with Mr. Collins were absolutely hilarious. Like, he was kind of the straight man, right? Like, Mr. Collins was kind of the more flamboyant, like one that was actively funny, but like they played off each other so well. He was such a good dad, so sweet, and he's just a joy and a delight to see on screen anytime he appears. So I really was happy we saw something with him in it and were able to include him in our top 10.
I think it's really, I don't want to get too overly serious about this, but I think this is a perfect example of the strength of diversity in art, because Reginald VelJohnson is a perfect choice to play this character.
Yes.
And if it wasn't for the fact that this group of people were given the chance to tell the story their way, we would have been denied Reginald VelJohnson playing Mr. Bennet.
Right, because Reginald VelJohnson's not going to be cast against Keira Knightley's dad. You know what I mean? Although maybe he should be. Right? Like, why not?
Be an interesting production.
It would be an interesting production.
I'd see it. I would definitely see it. But like, I don't want to be denied stuff like that. And I think embracing diversity, I think it gives us things like that. That's a hell of a good top 10.
Yeah.
A hell of a good top 10. Can I give my honorable mention really quickly?
Yes.
So until you said funny, I actually thought you were talking about the other the person that I was thinking of saying.
Okay.
For number 9. So yeah, my honorable mention is Sam Riley as Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
He was on my list too. Yeah, he was really enjoyable. I liked that performance.
Like, shockingly good. We really enjoyed Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. That was super, super fun. I came in expecting not to like it, and it was really fun. And that one performance was just a much better Darcy than I would have expected, and it would have been a good Darcy in a straight version of Pride and Prejudice.
Totally.
Yeah, he's my honorable mention. Do you have an honorable mention?
No, that's a good one.
Okay. So we're going to move on to our worst adaptations. But before we do that, we thought we would be a little positive. So yeah, let's be positive for a second.
All right.
Let's talk about a short list. It's kind of a long list. I think it's a top 10. Best original properties that we looked at, because these never get to make any lists because they're the original property.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a movie, maybe it's a book, maybe it's a TV show. But let's go through these for a second. And these are in no particular order. Shall I just run through them?
Yeah, do it.
The BFG, 1982, the book.
It was great.
It's great. It's great. It rolled off. Fantastic book. This is good. Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen.
What a fine novel.
I'll say it as having read it for the first time. What a fucking great book. I enjoyed it. Like, I liked Pride and Prejudice. I enjoyed it. I fucking loved Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah, I thought you would.
It was just so nice to read a book that I expected to be kind of stodgy, and it was so fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
And another reason why I love the Emma Thompson version, RoboCop 1987.
Wow.
Okay, I fucking love it. If you skipped it, go back and listen to it because it's a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, what was your experience of watching RoboCop versus what you thought your experience was going to be?
I mean, I certainly enjoyed it much more than I thought I would.
Which was, how much did you think you were going to enjoy it?
Negative a million.
But it's really good, right?
Yeah, it was good.
It's really good and really fun. What a great movie. Matilda, 1988. Again, Roald Dahl.
Obviously.
Fucking great book. Also, I'd never read it. I fucking loved it. The Bad News Bears, 1976.
So much fun.
With Walter Matthau. What a fucking treasure of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's so special and so wonderful. A Room with a View, book.
Obviously.
Like, I'll say the same thing as just said for Sense and Sensibility. What a fucking funny book.
Mm-hmm.
And so current, so modern. It's so good. So good. Catch-22, 1961.
The book?
Yeah, the book.
Yeah, it's good. It was good.
Well, you kind of hated it
Once
at first.
I got into it, I liked it better.
Yeah.
I remember coming to you at one point going like, I think I'm past the point of hating it.
Yeah.
Which is as much as you can say for anything, I guess.
And so you certainly never got to the point that I got to, which is that I fucking love it, and I've read it many times, and it's great and wonderful and hysterical, and I love it. The Italian Job, 1969.
Again, just a sheer delight. Fun to watch.
Yeah.
Just, a light romp.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
Mhm.
Just for that alone.
Yeah.
For that alone is fun.
There it is.
And this is, oh shit, I fucked up.
What?
Something's wrong with our best original properties, because on our should Flowers in the Attic 1979 also be on our list of best original properties? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, fuck that book, but yes.
It was so good.
Yes, it deserves to be on this list. It absolutely deserves to be on this list.
Best and worst.
What a good segue into the worst shit we watched all year.
I'm so excited that I get to go first.
Ugh.
I know what I'm gonna say, and I think you do too.
Please go ahead. What is the worst piece of shit that we watched this year?
The modern version of Little Women from 2018.
Ooh.
What a piece of garbage nightmare. It's completely unsympathetic. Hated every character. Don't really want to go into that much detail because we already talked about it at great length. I don't want to like dump on things.
I do.
More.
No,
was
fuck
just-
that movie.
No, it was so bad. It was so bad. This is the one with Leah Thompson as the mom.
Yeah.
Ugh. It was.
Not that Leah Thompson was bad.
I mean, the performances were all bad. The concept in general was bad, and the plot was nonsense. It was nonsense. We did not understand what was going on, and this was like our 12th version of Little Women, and we did not understand the plot. It was actively unpleasant to watch. Like, I think you thought I was going to name something else as number one that
I
we
did.
hated just pretty much just as much, but this was less pleasant. This was more unpleasant to watch. It was like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
I hated every minute of it. It was terrible. Not one redeeming feature. Don't watch it. It was really bad.
Like, I'm all for a main character being unsympathetic
Yeah.
if they're going to go through a journey that is going to bring them to being sympathetic by the end.
This did not happen.
Never. This Jo is the worst main character of any movie that we've
Yeah,
watched.
so bad.
She's awful. She is the worst. And I'm so glad I don't have to spend any more time with her.
She's like the Britta of Little Women.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yeah. Britta's great.
Britta's the worst.
She is the worst. For the community fans out there,
Yeah.
this joke brought to you by a couple of people who enjoy Community.
That's not as deep of a cut as some of the other deep cuts we've made.
So now, I'm going to say the one that I thought you were going to say,
Okay.
which was 2016's infuriatingly named L.M. Montgomery's Anne of Green Gables.
I mean, this was also terrible. It was also terrible, but like in a slightly different way, like a slightly more wholesome way, which I guess is weird. I don't know.
I found it more upsetting than Little Women.
Anything with a scene in it that brought us as much joy as the guy sitting in the background holding the newspaper at arm's length from his body and never moving, could not take the number one spot just because of that little brief moment of joy that it did bring us.
I think it has some of the worst casting I've ever seen. Like, it shows such a profound misunderstanding of the source material.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I don't want to repeat everything we said in that episode, but like, it's really unfortunate when they make me hate an actor I love, because they take Martin Sheen, who's great,
Yeah.
and I love him, and put him in a position to make me hate him.
Tragically miscast.
So miscast as Matthew Cuthbert.
Yeah.
Like, he's the president of the goddamn United States.
chick.
By the way, I don't know if anyone's going to be watching the West Wing special that's coming out. By the way, vote. Could everyone just vote? Like, everyone, who am I talking to? Like, I'm sure the people that listen to this show are voting.
Yeah.
But if you're not, do it. Don't be that person.
Yeah.
Don't be the one listener that doesn't vote. Everyone vote. What?
I was going to say don't vote for a Republican, but maybe that's a little too polarizing.
No, honestly, like, let's just no, I agree. Don't do that. Don't do that. This is our show's going to be our show. We don't have the kind of listener base that we can't afford to say something like that. Like, I think we can definitely afford to say something like that.
All right.
But yeah, what a dog shit dog shit movie. Dog shit movie that I hated every minute of. And I'm saying that as like someone who's new to loving Anne of Green Gables.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun to like kind of fall in love with something and then immediately get to like hate on something for doing a bad job. But yeah, number 2 on our list, L.M. Montgomery's Anne of Green Gables. It's so disrespectful.
It's terrible. Let's move on.
Okay.
I'm going to pick something else.
For number 3?
For number 3, that I also felt really...
I'm glad you're picking something else and not doing Little Women again.
I mean, I could do it again.
Yeah, I probably deserve it.
It probably deserve it. I just also really lost the spirit of the original, like almost to an offensive degree. But besides that, was just boring and stupid. And that was 2014's RoboCop.
Aw, yeah. You know, clearly, like, it belongs on the list.
Yeah.
Like, it belongs on the list because you've put it on the list.
Yes.
Why? So why is it on the list?
It was boring and stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. It really bums me out because I feel like its heart was in the right place. It's not about nothing. Like, that's the thing I was really worried about with the remake of RoboCop, because the original is about something. It has something to say. And I was worried someone was going to make a movie that had nothing to say. And this movie has something to say. It's just not very interesting.
Yeah.
And not very well done. And
maybe misses the point.
Yeah, completely misses the point. Like almost completely misses the point.
Yeah.
It got like one of the metaphors in the original one and like kind of ran with that one. But yeah, it's just a gigantic missed opportunity. And his motorcycle was stupid.
It's so stupid.
It's a dumb movie.
I just hated
It's a dumb movie.
I hated every minute of watching it, and it made me feel all the things that I assumed I would feel about doing a RoboCop episode, which is, why am I watching this bullshit?
Mm-hmm.
Number 4.
So number 4. I would have bet money the 2018's Robin Hood would have been number 1 on our list.
Man, that's so bad. It's so bad.
We're not the first people to talk about how surprisingly bad this movie is. This movie has gotten dunked on by so many people so much in the last 2 years. But this movie it's a fucking hoot. It is just abysmal. Every second that anyone is on screen doing anything or talking to anybody. This movie, no, to be fair, this movie only sucks when something's happening.
Yeah. But there are lots of times when nothing happens. So that is bad too.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no times that nothing happens. Something is always, it only sucks when something's happening. And unfortunately, something is always happening.
It was a pickle.
It's just like,
it was a pickle.
If I had to boil it down, like it's trying to be a comic book movie and like it's on rails where like everyone's doing things that, yeah, I guess it would make sense why someone would do that, but like it never makes sense why any of these characters are doing anything that they're doing.
Yeah.
Nothing that they say makes sense. Nothing that they do makes sense.
Nothing that they wear makes sense.
At all. The design of this movie is fucking terrible. This movie wastes F. Murray Abraham.
I know.
Like,
it wasted my time.
What a goddamn waste of a movie. It is so terrible. And I completely called the ending too.
Yeah,
Remember
you were like,
he's
going to come back and he's going to be all burned.
This guy's going to come back. He's going to be burned. He's going to be Will Scarlet. It's going to be the whole thing. He's the villain going into the sequel.
No, you were right. And there's no sequel. Thank God.
Oh, God. What a piece of garbage.
All right. Moving on.
That was number 4?
That was number 4.
All right, number 5.
So this is on the list, I think, partly because it was truly not good. And again, like I feel like sometimes things feel better because of how low our expectations were and worse because of how high our expectations were.
Yeah.
And I think that we had high expectations for the new Catch-22. The 2019 Catch-22.
You took my next one.
Because of the pedigree and because it was like this sort of prestige piece, and even the advertising made it look like it was going to be funny because the book is funny.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a
comedy,
satire
yeah.
and a comedy. And I've rarely seen something and this is saying a lot because we've done like 75 plus episodes of this podcast, rarely seen something that missed the point of the original so extravagantly and took itself so seriously in doing so. It was painful to watch. It was beautiful to look at. Like any given shot looked like a really serious World War II movie.
Impeccably produced.
Yeah.
Like you talk about pedigree, like this is like produced and directed and starring like George Clooney. This
Yeah.
is someone who knows what they're doing.
Like so gorgeous to look at, but with no substance. And we just kept looking at each other going, do they think it's funny? Or did they not know it was supposed to be funny?
There's jokes in it.
There's
There's
jokes,
occasionally jokes.
I guess. And it was
They explain the jokes too much.
it was unpleasant. It was terrible. It was not good. I guess if you knew nothing about Catch-22 and didn't know it was supposed to be funny, it would be an enjoyable World War II miniseries. But we did not enjoy it.
It's like, can I boil it down?
Yes.
Like this just in this is a mini version of the episode that we did, but like it was written by a guy who flew in bombers in World War II and believed in what he was fighting for and respected his commanding officers, who 15 years later wrote a book that was a deep satire that used his experience as a framing device, but wasn't about his experience at all and was really about like McCarthyism in the 50s and a pretty strong anti-war sentiment. And a lot of people thought it was like anti-Korea, but really it was more like anti-bureaucracy. And it's just this beautiful satire about bureaucracy and war and like blind patriotism. And they looked at it and they thought, you know what this is about?
Blind patriotism.
It's
how good it is.
well, no, I was gonna say it's about a bombardier in World War II.
Yeah.
This is clearly a book about a bombardier in World War II.
Yeah.
And it's like it's yes, technically, but if you've read it, you know that it's not. It's clearly not about that.
Oh boy.
And yeah, they just missed the
You
point.
missed the point. Missed it by a mile, and therefore it's on our list.
All right,
What's next?
Well, you took mine.
I'm
You
sorry.
took mine. So what are we on?
It's kind of the format of the exercise here.
Yeah,
We're on number 6.
Number 6. Okay, number 6 is one that kind of surprised us in how much we hated it, given that we kind of expected to kind of like it. Because when we were doing our Miracle on 34th Street episode, we kind of fun. Like the original is kind of fun, and then the like weird TV remake was kind of fun, and then the 1973 remake, like I really enjoyed. Like it's kind of fun, even though it was kind of batshit and part of it's not very good. But like 1994's Miracle on 34th Street, like
Classic children's movie.
okay, Mara Wilson,
Delightful.
Richard Attenborough.
Always a delight.
Like I remember this movie being out, and I had every impression I had was that it was good. I never saw it
I never saw it either.
because, like, you know,
Jewish.
Jewish kid. We watched it, and kind of from minute one, we were shocked at how much we hated it.
I really hated it.
It's really like it was one of those movies that like we kind of hated it, and then it turns, and then we really hated it.
Yeah.
Because once it gets to court, once we get to the entire court like sequence of the movie, which is like half an hour long, it goes off the fucking rails and really wants to set itself up as being something different than the original.
Uh-huh.
And the original was like charming. All the court stuff was charming when he's like on trial about whether he's Santa or not. This one, like, it was charming. The original was charming and like it made a kind of sense.
Yeah.
In the new one, though, it was not charming.
No.
And made no sense.
Yeah, and they the subplot, the evil department store, the evil rival department store. So stupid.
God damn. Like, it's just the creating villains where there don't need to be.
Yeah, there were so many random villains. It was terrible.
And it like didn't go far enough. Like it would almost want it to be like a like Boris and Natasha cartoon,
Yeah.
like Rocky and Bullwinkle, but like didn't go that far.
Yeah,
And like what pedigree, like written by John Hughes, which,
phoning it in.
and also like super quick honorable mention. Like then we watched Flubber, like the Robin Williams movie, written by John Hughes, directed by the
Similar
same
experience.
guy. Like totally similar experience. Like really not good.
Yeah.
Like we kind of hated it. But anyway, Miracle on 34th Street, 1994 is number 6 on our list.
All right, number 7. This list would not be complete without a batshit miniseries from the 70s. And my nominee is The Little Women from 1978, starring everyone from 1970s TV, including William Shatner.
He's the only good part of it, and he's bad.
The acting is abysmal. The wigs are insane. The script is bad. The casting is bad. everyone is way too old, and they say Concord a million times.
No, but the one thing about it is they did make a really good, did a really good job of making Southern California look like Concord, Massachusetts.
Disagree. They did a terrible
Wait,
job.
oh no, hang on, I misread my notes. That was also bad.
Yes.
That was all, you're right, nothing redeeming.
That was number 7. Let's move on.
William Shatner's always fun in everything he's in.
But never good.
That, you take it back.
I mean, he wasn't good in this.
Take it back.
He's sometimes good
Take
in
it
some
back.
things.
Say I take it back.
I take it back.
Thank you.
He was not good in this.
I agree with you.
I know. That's all I was saying.
But he's fun in all you were saying is that he's bad in everything.
Keep going.
Number 8 on our list. That was 7, right?
I don't remember because you just yelled at me.
I love you. Okay, number 8 on our list. In 2007, a miniseries was made of A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. And I see you crossing one off your list. I have a couple things to say, mostly about how bad it is. No, this goes back to the Catch-22. Like, I think I would be echoing a lot of what we said in that, which is like, holy shit, let's look at some people that missed the fucking point of the book.
Yeah.
Which is that this is like a comedy of manners. And let's watch a bunch of people take something way too seriously for longer than is comfortable.
And add a weird framing device that is dumb and makes no sense.
Yeah, like kind of let's ruin it.
Yeah.
Let's take
Let's
A Room
just
with a
ruin
View
it.
and let's ruin it.
Let's ruin it.
Yeah.
And also, let's be Andrew Davies, who knows better.
Yeah.
So disappointing.
It was really good to watch this because I feel like coming into it, I really thought Andrew Davies was amazing.
Yeah.
Like I really thought he was. And now I understand he is capable of being amazing.
He is but a man.
And
like us all.
yeah, like this is just so bad. Like I think the most egregious thing for me wasn't the framing device, which is terrible, but like they take the romantic lead and they make him a serial killer. Like he's really threatening in this movie, and I genuinely did not want the two of them to end up together. But at least he dies in the framing device.
Yeah.
It's garbage.
It's garbage. Hot garbage.
Garbage. Number 9.
I mean, this is actually an interesting choice because I'm looking at my list and I'm picking between something that like was just boring and probably should never have been made, and something that was a little bit batshit, but like maybe a little more fun. I guess I'm gonna go with the 1995 Sabrina. But
okay.
I can tell you who the runner-up was in a minute.
Is that the batshit one?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just think that the original was not very good and kind of unredeemable, and then they made a remake in 1995 that was basically the same, but they didn't update any of the sort of gender roles, which were already kind of unpleasant in the 1950s version. And so they just made like a really, really stale, out-of-date, gross romantic comedy that was neither romantic nor funny. And I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. And it was on our bottom list, and I chose it.
I don't want to do the whole thing again, but I genuinely think for people that listen to it might remember this, and if you didn't listen to it, I think this was like one of the things I had the most fun doing, which was we kind of thought through what a better remake would have been.
Yeah.
Like how could you take the same cast and change the casting around and change the story around a little bit and change the ending around a little bit just to make it generally more satisfying.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah.
And I think what we came up with was much better.
Yes. It's like a thing that they could have done as the makers of the movie, but chose not to. And I just showed, honestly, as an adaptation, I think is a good example and belongs on this bottom list as an example of like just a lack of imagination. Like, oh, let's just redo the script and it'll be fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in doing adaptations, because that's like a big pitfall I think we sometimes see. It's just a lack of imagination and an assumption that a remake or an adaptation is easy to do, and it's not necessarily.
Completely agreed. All right, so I get to bring it home?
Yeah, bring it home.
Ooh. I got to think about this one. We're going to do honorable mentions, right?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay. I am going to go ahead. No, you know what? I hated this. I think it missed the point. It was just a waste of everyone's potential in it, and that was 1981's Sense and Sensibility.
Oh man, that was the sad swing
miniseries.
set one.
The sad seesaw.
Yeah, I can't disagree. The bad costume fittings.
It was so fun because we watched like the 70s version, and it greatly exceeded my expectations. And this one so did not meet my expectations. It was a mess in everything.
Yeah,
None
it
of the
was a mess.
performances rang true, except for one. Willoughby was really good.
Yeah.
He's the only good thing. He's the exception. Again, the exception that proves the rule. Where the rule is that this is terrible, and he is. If he wasn't so good, I wouldn't say that he was the only thing good in it.
There it is.
It was just really bad and really sad. And why would you take something? This was just a bunch of people going on autopilot.
Yeah.
No one really cared about making it good. They were just like, oh, it's old and it's British and that's what we do. So we're going to do that and we'll put the story on page and then we'll have actors act it out and we'll get a B just for showing up.
Yeah.
And I think it is a big ol' F.
Yeah.
I'd say this fails.
Yeah. It was no good. So my honorable mention was the 2005 Poseidon Adventure.
Ooh,
just
yeah.
big explosions, lots of explodies. The characters were dumb, and it was kind of batshit. It was a little bit fun to watch, which is why it did not make the list actually ultimately, because
Yeah.
it kind of was fun. It was kind of bad fun, but it was not a good movie, and I would not recommend it.
Yeah, it was fun because it really reminded us of the really shitty Hallmark Channel because it's made by the same company, the Ten Commandments
Yeah, yeah,
that we
yeah.
had watched that was so bad. And like it's we said it in the episode, but like it's from that time period before TV movies were good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it is
oh my god, the
really
whole
bad.
Steve Gutenberg and like the massage therapist.
Ooh.
Remember that they were like in her bed?
Ugh.
Like, oh, it was so
Is
bad.
that number 10?
No.
I forgot about the Steve Gutenberg thing.
Yeah, it was
No,
really, really bad.
I'm going to stick with Sense and Sensibility
Yeah, no, it's
1981.
fine.
This was really just, I forgot about the upside down computer,
Oh
cafe,
yeah, and
the
they're like,
internet
it's,
cafe.
oh, your friends from work.
Nope. Sense and Sensibility, 1981. You just dodged a bullet. You're getting taken down off with the nooses being taken out from off your neck, and 2005's Poseidon Adventure is being marched up
It
there.
was really bad.
Holy shit! I'm like, I just didn't think that hard about
Do
it.
you remember that? She's like, oh, your poor friends from work.
It was holy shit! It was so bad.
It was really bad.
Every minute of it was terrible.
And remember how annoying Belle Rosen was? Like anytime anyone else was having a conversation, she would just like walk over and be like, "Well, what about me, the old lady?" And they would be like, "We're not even talking about you."
Okay, yeah, that's number 10.
Yeah,
That's number 10.
It was really bad.
That's number 10.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh man, can I tell you my honorable mention?
sure.
Well, 1981 Sense and Sensibility. The one I felt bad dunking on, this would have been, you know what, I'm going to call it a listener right now. This would have been on the list if it, Pride and Prejudice, a latter-day comedy. This would have been on the list if it wasn't for the amazing piece of listener mail that we got.
Yeah, yeah.
Like contextualizing the Mormon church.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
us.
No, I felt the same way. Like that, we did not enjoy it, but I actually felt it would be kind of disrespectful to put it on the list, given the explanation of it from a cultural standpoint that we received.
But like poorly made.
Yeah, I mean,
Very-
as a film, it was not great.
Very, very, very poorly made.
Yeah.
That's the honorable mention right there. Well, this was fun.
This was fun. 3 years.
1
3
year-
years.
And like apart from the month that we took off, we still have not missed an episode.
no,
Not only
no.
that, we started a whole second show.
I know, and we have a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, the first year we did this, we were married, and then the second year I was pregnant, and now we have this baby, and here we are. The end.
With a baby and 2 podcasts.
And we don't get to leave the house anymore.
I just want to take this moment to say how much we appreciate all of you. We know that like we just get really lovely emails from people, and we get really lovely comments on Instagram, and really lovely people on Twitter who support us, and like we have fun making this, and it just means so much that there are some people in the world that enjoy listening to it, and we don't tire of hearing that, and we are going to keep doing this because we
Yes.
really enjoy it,
Agreed.
and it's important. It's important. No, it's not that important.
It's not that important, but it's fun.
It's really fun. Well, anyway, this has been Adapter Parish. If you'd like to find us online, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AdaptCast. And if you tweet about the show, don't forget to use the AdaptCast hashtag. You can join our groups on Facebook and Goodreads, and you can also find and follow me on Letterboxd. If you have anything to say that's longer than a tweet, you can always send an email to adapterparishcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the show, there are 3 great ways that you can do it. First, tell a friend. Second, a rating and review on your podcast platform of choice would be greatly appreciated. And third, I mentioned it before, we are on Patreon. We've got a whole bonus show for patrons. We have a special patron community. It's been really, really fun. And again, a very, very special thank you to our Patreon supporters. You're amazing, and we love you all. And it feels really special, and it feels like we have it's something we have to live up to. And it's a really, really fun challenge. And
Yes.
I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yes, agreed. In honor of Alan Rickman, I would like to say this.
What would you like to say?
Christmas is canceled.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.